I don't spend money. As opposed to my opponent, William Ruto, because that is my opponent. For him to address in a meeting, like in the Mount Kenya region, he spends a minimum of 10 million in a meeting. His MPs, they spend 2-3 million. His deputy spends about 5 million to talk to anybody. All these guys you see at our tent, they are all paid. And if you don't pay them, they'll start saying one time. And even what is interesting is, because I also communicated to my people when I realized that a lot of money is being used to bribe them, I also told them, I gave them the charges to charge these guys to come and cheat them. And what has happened now is that William Ruto and his group pays Kenyans to listen to them. The minute they take off, they all start shouting one time, because we agreed that this money is stolen. In any case, even if you don't take it from William Ruto, he'll take it elsewhere. So why not? Just take it, but don't sell your conscience, and stick with what you believe in. So I don't agree with you that Kenyans say they want to get rid of everybody. If they did, the meetings I do, there will be nobody, or they will be demanding I pay them.
But regarding Gachagua, you've taken responsibility of being part of the problem. And what are some of the problems we're talking about? We talk about SHA. Let's talk about affordable housing. Let's talk about taxes. During the campaign period, you and President William Ruto went across the country saying the problem with the high price of fuel in the country was because of the taxes. But what did we see once you formed the government? The taxes increased from 8% to 16%, 100%. Increment. As Kenyans sit here today and listen to you speak, they say you are part of the pain we feel today. We feel not comfortable to have you on board.
I'll qualify that. I am not part of the problem of taxation, theft of public resources, wanton corruption. I'm not part of that. The problem I admit I am part of was bringing William Ruto to office. That I accept. And I have apologized 100 times to the people of Kenya. That I created the mess we are in by assisting William Ruto to be elected president. I accept wholeheartedly to the people of Kenya that I created a problem in Kenya, and I take responsibility. But I've also told the people of Kenya, now that I admit I made a great mistake in creating the problem, the mistake called William Ruto, the greatest lie ever in the history of Kenya. For me to redeem my image, I must play an even greater role in correcting that problem by making sure William Ruto is one term. As to the problems that are in the country as his deputy, we had no role. William Ruto is a one-man show. He runs the government single-handedly. And you can see, like now, he's doing roadside declarations. Yesterday he was in Vihiga, and somebody there, an MP, complained about fees for IDs. And then he made a declaration there that there will be no more fees without consulting the policy makers, without talking to anybody. That's a mess we are in a country. The other day you saw teachers come to State House for bribes. And then he made a unilateral declaration that 20% of those houses will go to teachers without talking to the minister, without talking to the directors, without talking to the people who made this policy. That's the way this country is run. You know, that is the way this country is run. And therefore, I absolve myself from any blame, because when I realized that as deputy I had no role, the ministers had no role, the PSs had no role, I started having a fight with him within, until it reached a place we could not agree, and he made a decision to throw me out, which is okay, you know. But I realized, and after the first 1 year, that the Kenya government, led by William Ruto, had become a criminal enterprise. Theft of public resources, misappropriation of funds, decisions that are of commercial interest to him and his family. And I couldn't take it, because that is not what he had told me when we were forming government. That is not what he had told the people of Kenya. If you look at this decision to sell Kenya Pipeline, Kenya Pipeline is valued at 600 billion. It's being sold for 100 billion, you know? And the valuation has not included land in Mombasa that is worth about 40 billion. And this company is being bought by a Nigerian who is an in-law to President William Ruto. And that I know because I was there. And I had refused when the matter was brought to the cabinet committee that I chaired. How do you sell strategic installations of the country? You know, oil, fuel is something that is very sensitive. How do you put the country's oil reservoirs in private hands? What if there is sabotage and the country comes to a stop? But because he has a commercial interest himself, you know, today, Dennis, tea farmers are up in arms. I was in charge of tea reforms and things were going on very well. A single decision by William Ruto to do business with the rebel movement in Sudan, the RSF of Hemeti, who is a business partner of William Ruto, the government of Sudan made a decision to ban the importation of Kenyan tea. As a result of that ban, we have not been able to sell our tea in good prices. What is the result? The prices of tea have gone down. Farmers across the country, including his home in Kericho and Bomet, where he comes from, his kinsmen, they have in arms. And it's a simple personal decision that because he wants to deal with the gold with Sudan and give them arms in exchange to kill women and children, then we cannot sell our tea. And because we cannot sell our tea, our prices have gone down. Then the farmers are crying across the country. So these are the things that I saw along the way. And I said, no, I can't have this. I'm not a con man. How do we con the people of Kenya? We promised to have a bottom-up economic transformation agenda. We promised to put money into people's pockets. Then the little that they have, we remove it, you know? So I am saying that the Kenya government, run by William Ruto, is a criminal enterprise. State House is a crime scene. You have seen State House now has lost dignity. Bribery takes place, you know, in broad daylight, you know, and he doesn't care really. He really doesn't care. All money that was meant for capitation, schools are shutting down. That money has been diverted to State House to bribe people. Money meant for health has been diverted. Lecturers have not been paid. This money is what is being carried in sacks, in choppers across the country. I was unable to be part of that criminal enterprise. And Kenyans must forgive me for that, because that's not what we promised the people of Kenya. We had promised the people of Kenya that we are people's government, that we are going to serve in humility, we are going to make people's lives better, we are going to make people to improve their welfare, we are going to have ease of doing business. But where we are, my friend, the country is on its knees.
We talk about privatization of state resources. You've mentioned KPC to be specific. You say that the valuation was not considered, that this is business because the person who's to buy it is President William Ruto's son-in-law. What evidence do you have to show? Because
he looked for me.
Absence of evidence showing that you have these as a fact remains being hearsay. As well, you say you are inside as deputy and you knew about this. Why speak now?
I have been speaking, and anything I've told Kenyans have come to pass. Anything I've said. I said about Bomas of Kenya, it has come to pass. I said about RSF, it has come to pass. I said President William Ruto has appointed drug barons into his cabinet. I have been vindicated the day before yesterday. Drugs are being smuggled through JKIA.
Who in his cabinet is in charge of that?
You have seen the photographs. The people who are smuggling drugs through the airport, you have seen their photographs with the cabinet minister. And everybody knows that cabinet minister who is a drug baron. There are two. And I asked William Ruto, he had put me in charge of fighting drugs and alcoholism. When he was appointing these two ministers, I asked him, Mr. President, where does that leave me? How do I continue with this war on drug abuse when I'll be sitting in the same cabinet with the drug barons? That expose that has happened at the airport, if William Ruto has any decorum remaining, he must sack that minister. The evidence is there. the people who are smuggling drugs through JKI, the photographs with his minister is there. And you can see clearly that the minister is actually the one who is facilitating, you know, the peddling of the smuggling of drugs through the airport, because the drugs that have been caught, the documentation was saying that they are minerals that are going for testing. So the ministry is being used for drug trafficking because the minister has been a drug baron, and it is in public domain. Everybody knows. There is nobody in this country who doesn't know. But William Ruto has no qualm. Because of his own business interests with that minister and the deals they are doing together, he has no qualms about appointing a fellow involved in drugs to the cabinet when our children are in trouble. How does William Ruto face parents today? And you know, he was telling parents that they are responsible for bad upbringing. When he has appointed ministers who are peddling drugs, they are sitting in his cabinet.